What is poppin', people? Welcome back to the channel. Y'all know how it be here. It's Armour, so it's a time for me to come show my 50 now that Awakening got hit. We topped another 3v3, Smeaton and Meaton. We came back through. We got fourth, only losing to first place, so we just got scammed on tiebreakers. We only had we were like X1-1. One lost to first place and one tie. And yeah, this was the Armour list that I was running. It was the first day of the new ban list, so yeah, this is kind of the look that I am going for right now that Awakening has been hit to 1. If you've also been a fan of the channel, y'all have seen another theory craft that I've done for Armour, but also quick shout out to look at these cool fighting game stickers that my wife made. Yeah, anyways, we'll just get straight into it because y'all know how it be. It's Armour. So I'm going to start things off with the eggs, because that's where the game starts. One Bukamon, because some people were like, why would you don't go to 5 eggs? I sometimes do. And high rolling the hell out of people will never not be funny. So sometimes we do this because it does facilitate an extra chip, but generally you're on 4 of the Demi V. This should come as no surprise to anyone because the DP is incredibly relevant for hitting matchups, and things like Mirage you do need to just be massive. I'm going to be real with you now, this is not for the faint of heart. We're on 4 BT12 Veemons. These are the only searcher Veemons we have. I hate ST9, he's a fraud, and I will not be hearing otherwise. End of turn DNA doesn't come up in this version of the list, but yeah, you'd be dropping this off of your Davises in order to find things. 4 of the promo Veemon because you want to be evolving for cheap, and non-once per turn draw when you attack is a great way to just continuously facilitate your ability to rebuild. If you're swinging with a Magnet, then we got 4 of BT17 Veemon because the power, again, on your turn, fantastic, lets you swing for massive numbers. But also, he's another great Veemon to play off of your Davis. Yes, you can't evolve him with a Buka, so sometimes you do have these very scary situations where he's your only rookie in hand, and every time you flip an egg, you're just like, man, I hope it's not Bukamon. Most of the time, I try and find it. If I have this and a Promo V in hand, if I flip not Bukamon, I'll tend to evolve this in the back just because, like, in theory, if the next egg is Bukamon, then by going Promo, I've locked myself out for a turn. This is also a great one to play off of the Veemon. Many times in the mirror and some games in the 3v3, I would be using Davis instead of to play this Veemon to go, this one to go neg from hand if it was versus Mirage, but also just using it as my first action. If the Davises were pushing me to an amount where I could go to like 3 or 4 memory, I would use a Davis that I had in hand to spend 3 of that, play this Veemon, and then use its gain back a memory to make my next Evo on a different body cheaper. Yes, you're technically spending more, but it's also a body on board to threaten next turn. So, card's fantastic, big fan of it. I genuinely do not care about only having 4 searcher Veemons, you just play them when you need them. We're not done with Veemons though, we are running 14. We're on 2 of the EX1, I would actually bump him up more if I could, but yeah. With the jamming, crazy. He just turns into a 2-cost unsuspend, but we will be unsuspending a lot in this deck. Hammer Sparking with your Magna is another really cool thing, so when you're not boosted on the DP, sometimes it's nice to just have the ability to play super low to the ground, memory-wise. So 14 rookies, very greedy in terms of having no search. Like I said, not for the faint of heart, but this is how you facilitate max aggro now that you don't just have pretty brain-dead unsuspends off of your Awakening. That, however, has not stopped us from still running 4 Flamedramon. Everyone who has known me for a long time knows the only reason I play this damn card game is because Flamedramon is in it. And even though you can't Awakening over him after he's gotten his thing done, we will be using this pseudo Armor Rush style to beat over things. You can challenge level 5s with this thing, with some cards that we'll get to later, but putting this on top of a BT16 and the egg puts you at an 8k Flamedramon, just like the old Flamedramon, which can quite easily contest things, and you're also bouncing security to hand, so even if you're purging down, you're at least fighting for board, punishing any Ukos that get left out, and actually dealing security damage whilst being able to play for control. Fantastic card. We're keeping him at 4. I know some people are a little bit iffy on him. I've seen other local Armour players down to 2 Flamedramon, but I'm on 4, and it helps me just fully control the board. We do have 1 extra Lydramon just to, again, play around Floodgates and other things like that, just to let you fight for board a little bit more, and it is a Heaven's color. And then, you know, it's Armor Rush, so we're on 8 Magnas because 8 Magna names is still very relevant, especially now that we don't have access to Awakening. You could argue that this Digimon could be a BT17 Magnamon just to have another Magnamon name. Or, you know, maybe you cut down like both of these. Oh, you know what? I'm on Magnamon sleeves. Shout out to King Kai. So these could quite easily be BT13 Magna, just so that way you have the Magnamon name, which is actually quite relevant, but I like the 2-cost evos. It allows you to not pass over 3 when you're evolving in the back because of an Emperor, allows you to squeeze memory out of your EX1 Veemons as well as your promo Veemons for just being able to make game actions that are really, really tight. I've been able to have this evolve per 1, like swing with my Flamedramon that I'd built in back. It purges down to the promo, then evolve for 1 to then get more value and then go from there, which I think is incredibly relevant, especially if your Flamedramon is expecting to purge down. But yeah, these are the armors that we've got. So 8 Magnamons, 1 Lydramon, and then 4 Flamedramon. Obviously, you could opt for fewer Flamedramons, but I actually think that in the same way that Patamon was kind of the linchpin for yellow armor, Flamedramon is our linchpin. We are on 4 of the big Sentinel, because of course we are. I mean, card is stupid. It wins games all by itself. There's really nothing to be said about this card that isn't said already, so I'm not going to bother. May have noticed level 5s, that there are none, and that's because Alphamon Fnatic DHM lives in my region, and also, to be fair, now that the ban list is out and it didn't hit Gora, there should be Goras in all of your regions, and if you play Aces into Gora, yes, your Aces might help you in every other matchup, but when you get smoked for Gora and get turn skip, don't come crying in my comments. Zudo is not worth it in this meta right now. It's a crazy card, but just 5s just are not the play right now. If anything, go look at my BT16 lists where we were on more Lydramon and ended up on Pyildramon because they didn't hit Imperial, and if we're gonna lose Awakening, you might as well spec into 4 Lydras, go the full DNA route off of your armors to make Pyildramon, and then just use Primogenitor as your Awakening. It's better to do that than play Zudomon and get turn skip by a good Gora player, or even a bad Gora player. Sometimes these combos play themselves. But anyways, yeah, as soon as I just go and talk about Aces, we are actually going to play 1. I am still not fully sold on this card. I was testing it at 2 and have cut it down to 1. Not just because I can only afford 1 altar, but just because you could make a protected Magna stack that then turns into an Imperial Ace, and a lot of people are like, okay, Magna's where the line ends, and sometimes you can just catch them. This is sometimes you're out to the Gora matchup where if you catch them aggressively pitching to set up for a turn, and then you catch them on something greedy, you can just quickly ace them and reset their trash. I've dropped this thing for 9 and gone away with it so many times. And you'll see kind of how it puts Gora on the back foot in the finals matches of the 3v3. Then, yeah, so that's us done with Digimon. We're going to go Tamers first for Davis because he's crazy, and our member set is going to be Shu Yulin. Some people pick the Davis because it's more searchable, but again, I don't care about the search fragility. You will draw into Shu Yulin if she's in your deck, and if you don't, so be it. She facilitates the extra damage, not just off the Alliance, but offer the ability to be able to push out a Raising and still do something. The ability to load it under the Magna X, and instead of having to just go 1 chip unsuspend, be able to go 1 chip, and then load this reboot and know that you can still play defense without having to have a security get removed, which is incredibly important, which then allows you to get more value out of your Imperial Ace. Yeah, she's not searchable. Boohoo. Like, you draw enough cards if you're on the promo, and sometimes she pops out of security and just kind of wins you the game. So 5 Tamers, 4 of which are searchable. The other one is a memory setter, and I think in a world where you have to be a bit more, like, you have to accept that you're high rolling people because Awakening is now down to 1, you should just lean into what kills your opponent as fast as possible in Minecraft. Whilst they're playing on the board, you run them over with the train that is Heavens. There's pretty standard ratios in terms of some options here. 2 Heavens, 2 Blinding. You all know what they do. They are kind of Magna's signature cards at this point. We are on 2 boosts because yes, 4 searches is kind of criminal, but sometimes you just need to be able to boost to play around things. Trainings are cool to reduce the cost, but I think boost allows you to be a bit more flexible in terms of being able to play a Davis, which can then get you more things. Also, digging 4 is the most dig that any search Veemon would be able to do. They only search 3, so this digs the 4th card. I mean, I guess BT8 Veemon, but that only searches 2 colors, so that card's dead. Yeah, so boost is another way of just extending memory so you can make more plays. Fantastic card. 1 Awakening, because that's all we're allowed to play. And this is then when you kind of get to Andrew's tech options. You know, everyone, you know, we finally come around to stop letting people say that they have added spice and they're cooking, when instead they are actually assembling a Tesco's ready meal. But we are actually cooking with spice here. Awakening may be gone, but that doesn't mean you can't still evolve quickly into Magna. If you're going to have to pass your turn with the turn into Magna, you might as well get a damage in. So many times you have to pick between swing, hope it lives, or swing and hope you don't get aced, and then evolve into Magna, or give up the damage and evolve into Magna. X-Antibody lets you not have to pick, because you are swinging unsuspended, thanks to getting the when digivolving, protected, and you are getting your check. So even if they choose to block it, you're still getting a protected turn. It lets you just play a little bit more tempo, randomly hammer spots, you know, insecurity. Great card. But then for the rest of it, we are on 2 armor texture, because 4 Flamedramon, you know, you can't establish your board as far as you can, and sometimes your Flamedramon will just live. So a great way to get into your Magnas is to armor texture, or just go into another one. If, you know, the body didn't die in the first one, armor texture, go in again, burn another security, get your value. And then to really top it off, we got the creme de la creme Lightning Blade. And I know this card has been around since BT8, but most people probably haven't read it. One of your 2 or more colored Digimon gets 2k DP and piercing for the turn, and then you get the green. You can ignore the green by having an armor in play. So if it's Magna on its own, you can't do it, but if you have your Lydramon in back, or you just have any armor standing next to your Magnamon, you give your Magnamon an extra 2k DP, which helps you win the mirror, helps you beat over Gora, helps you do all kinds of things. And you can also, more importantly, give it piercing. So in the ideal stack where you're an 8k Flamedramon, this then becomes a 10k level 4 that is bouncing a security and piercing. The amount of times where I've sped up the damage clock by just going, oh, that's a really cool Ukamon that you've got there. I'm just gonna go Lightning Blade, swing, bounce 1, pierce 1, and then it lives in security a lot, and use texture, go again. You've seen it in the match that I played versus Jambo, where I was able to just flashbang him for like 3 damage real quick with Lightning Blade. It also, suspending one Digimon out of security just randomly wins you a Mirage matchup. I've had Mirages swing in, hit Lightning Blade, and just go, oh, I was actually not accounting for that in the slightest. I'm like, yeah, I bet you weren't. So this is my list. I hope you enjoyed it and give it a go in your locals. Again, the Flamedramons, like, they're expensive, so I would totally get it if you switched it to like BT17 Magna or some other thing, or you just try going the Pyldramon route. I think that is cool too. But this is what I use to get 4th with my team at the Just the Games 3v3, and is what I've been running in BT16. I'm really, really happy with the list. I think the being disincentivized to go into Magna X now as frequently gives you a little bit more room. You can lean more into the Magnas, but I think X-Antibody and Armor Texture should be a takeaway of this as a way for you to extend your game plans. But the 2-cost Evos, they go crazy when you're evolving sometimes for 1 or 0 based on having promo Veemon next to BT16 Veemon. Lightning Blade is sick. Don't be a hater. This was the format for green tech options. Fanboy, we're ahead of the game. You'll be seeing Tommytrix's Rapidmon list most likely very, very soon, which also has a very interesting green tech card. Thanks to everyone for the support as we get closer to 3K. The Discord will be coming soon, and I will continue to keep trying to get you daily Digimon content. Join the members if you want stuff early, and as always, have yourselves a damn good one.